In this pod, we will look at how the Nazi Party began the process of rearmament in Germany up to 1939.
Following Germany's defeat in the First World War, the Treaty of Versailles drastically reduced the German military. The country was only allowed 100,000 soldiers and was banned from having tanks or an air force. Germany's navy had been decimated to virtually nothing. This greatly angered and humiliated the German people. In the long term, it left resentment and the growing desire for a strong military. Even at the start of Hitler's campaign in the early 1920s, he openly stated his hatred of the treaty and his desire to overthrow it. In Mein Kampf, written in 1924, he detailed his plans for rearmament. Once he achieved power in 1933, he was free to act upon these plans.
The military had been partly rebuilt in secret during the Weimar Republic. However, after securing power in 1933, the Nazi Party pursued a more aggressive version of rearmament. This was one of the top priorities for the Nazi leadership. Hitler was willing to openly break the terms of the Treaty of Versailles. He wanted to build a world-leading army. This was a very popular and well-received attitude within Germany.
International discussion about Germany's rearmament started at the Disarmament Conference of 1933. Germany demanded equality of armaments with other countries. This meant that they were pursuing a right to have as much military power and freedom as the other international powers. The French refused this request, and Hitler withdrew from the conference. Britain tried to encourage Germany to return to the talks, but Hitler refused. British diplomacy towards the Germans greatly angered the French government, who believed that Britain was revoking the Treaty of Versailles. The conference ended in 1934 with what is known as the Barthou Note. In the note, the French Foreign Minister, Louis Barthou, declared that France would no longer have any part in the conference and would put its own interests first. This was a success for Hitler, as it left him free to act and caused a rift between the Allies, France, and Britain.
Hitler continued to rearm his military following the collapse of the Disarmament Conference in 1934. This greatly concerned Britain, which had fixed the size of its naval fleet through treaties with the USA, France, and Japan. Following growing concerns about the size of the German rearmament program, Britain took action. Firstly, the British Foreign Office issued a memo stating that Part 5 of the Treaty of Versailles is, for practical purposes, dead. Then, in a determined effort to control the growth of the German Navy, Britain entered its own Anglo-German naval agreement in 1935. This fixed the German naval tonnage to a third of each of the British warship categories. Britain did not consult with France before making this decision, and the French were frustrated by this. Hitler rightly saw this as another success. A part of the Treaty of Versailles was now officially void, and the split between France and Britain had widened.
In 1935, Hitler made his rearmament program and his intention to expand it publicly known. He held a huge Freedom to Rearm rally. Europe learned that the Nazis had 2,500 warplanes in its Luftwaffe and 300,000 men in its army. In 1936, Hitler went further and announced conscription. This meant that eligible citizens were legally obligated to join the military. Hundreds of thousands of conscripts were trained each year. This was a huge success for Hitler, as he had taken a gamble that no other country would attempt to stop him. Nobody questioned his decision to breach the Treaty of Versailles. As a result, his popularity in Germany experienced a surge of support. The army continued to increase, and by 1939, it stood at 1.4 million. The number of aeroplanes had grown to 8,250.